You guys know I like GameCubes. Today, let me show you what this one's doing. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And as you can see, it's not reading the game. We'll go ahead. The game should be perfectly fine. Tries to read it. And fails. So, let's see if we can fix that. We got our iFixit toolkit right here. Let's take this GameCube apart. GameCubes aren't too difficult to repair, and they're not too difficult to take apart. There is just a lot of pieces and screws, but let me make it easy for you. So you got to use the extension plus the G4.5 security screw. And you're pretty much in the console. Next is all the screws around the outside. So we're going to take the controller port off, the back of it off, and start unscrewing all the screws. I'm going to clean this up while I'm going at it. Just a bit. Might as well. Next, I like to use the PH1 for these screws. We're just going to get all the screws on the outside. There's one other screw next to the power supply underneath it, but it's hard to get to, so I gotta take off the power supply first. Might as well undo that. It's the power. There we go. We'll grab these 4 screws. You just got to remember while putting it back on, I figured it all the time, you got to put that screw in before you put the power supply in. But I forget that all the time. Bring it up a bit. 4 screws right here. We're going to grab the iFixit torque holder. We're going to grab 1.5 flathead, because we're going to need it in a bit. So now, if I did it right, it should come right off. Now we're going to take these 5 screws off, or 6 screws on the bottom. Of the laser plate. the laser, and this is where we want to be. So there's this potentiometer right here that we're going to adjust to see if we can give some more power to the laser to make it work. So while we're at it, go ahead and put this guy back on. Slides right in there. Clean this up a bit. Slides in like that. Give it AV and power. Clean up the power. The fan a little bit more. Power. Plug it in. Now let me show you what it's actually doing when you try to use a disc and with the laser. So I'm going to move the laser back. Put this in here. Go ahead and this switch right here is a little, it's supposed to push down. This one's stuck. So we're going to be careful because the plastic in here is pretty brittle. You don't really want to break it. So what I'm going to do is kind of just nudge the plastic over, because sometimes the feet just get in the way. I'm going to nudge the plastic over a bit. There we go. And then might as well grab some isopropyl alcohol. We'll just clean this up a bit. Alright. Well, there's the laser. It tries. It just can't do anything. It's not moving back and forth. It's definitely not working. So I'm going to take the whole thing off. I'm going to come over here with my flathead. I'm going to put it right here on this potentiometer, and I'm just going to so slightly turn it clockwise, just a little bit, and put it back on and retest it. So you can see from the laser what it's trying to do. And it's just not, it's still not working properly. Okay, so it's acting a little weird when I turned it right, so we're gonna go counterclockwise a little bit, just a little bit more than we did last time, less than we did last time, and see what it does. Oh, there it goes. So I'm gonna see if I can get to it. The GameCube has a specific laser noise it makes when it's working. If you haven't worked on these, you really don't know, but once you do, you kind of know. So we're just gonna verify that this thing is loading the game properly. Not sure if you guys can actually see that or not. It's loading. There's a lot of loading in this game. Looks like it's loaded, so shut it off. We're gonna take the game out and we're gonna put it back together. Put the plate back on. Clean that plate. Look how dusty it is. There's only one direction this plate goes. Put it back on. Now we're going to put all the screws back on. Like I said, before you put the power supply, put this screw in. It might as well be the first screw you actually put in. And then the next ones I like to do are the 3 below the power supply. Slide in the power supply. Put that in there. So you got to be careful while sliding this in. It has this little like notch right here that goes in between these poles for the plastic piece on the laser. So we just want to slide it in there like so. Then we start putting all the other screws in. I have a magnet over here that I like to use to remagnetize these tips to help. Because this particular cheap electric screwdriver doesn't have a magnet in it to help magnetize the tips. So I usually just use a large magnet and just run the tips over it and magnetize the tips. Helps quite a bit. The way these guys go in is there's 4 holes in the back, and you just line up the holes. And clean the ports off. clip, put the back on. Clip. Clean this face again. Put the top on. Now before I seal it up and put it all back together 100%, I'm just going to test it right now to make sure that everything is working properly. See, I actually don't like that. That isn't opening all the way. Sometimes this just needs to be loosened just a little bit. Oh. Perfect. Put the laser in. Turn it on. And there it goes. All fixed. Perfect. Now I can take all that out. Put the last screws in. And we are done with this repair. And that is most of the time how easy the GameCubes are to fix. I have yet to have one GameCube come back to me after doing this and adjusting them. They just get old. They're not going out like the PS2 ones are, but they're just getting used and abused and old. And down the top again. And voila, all done. Turn it on. And there it goes, all fixed.